Okay, so let's take a look at table storage in Azure storage account. So we will take a look at the flow to first create the storage account, then we will move to the table, right? So first thing, we go to Azure account here, and then within dashboard you can click on all services, click on storage, and then go to storage account. Now here you see I already have one storage account. I can create a new to show you how the flow works. So click on create, and we will complete this, then we will move to table, right? Reason I am going through flow is because unless you know how to create the storage account, there is no point in going to table. So you create a new project, adding project subscription, resource group, then you have instance where you have storage account name, region, then setting the performance and redundancy. Now redundancy is that you choose the local data center and get local redundant storage. You choose spread out data centers, then it becomes geo redundant storage. Within the spread out geo redundant storage, you get zones, then they become zone redundant storage and geo zone redundant storage, right? So those options apply. Next comes the advanced tab where you can set some policies like allowing secure transfer through REST API, allowing public access, allowing storage access with key. You can set the TLS version, also choose the permitted scope for copy operations. Then comes other options like blob storage, Azure files, and so on, right? For some of the options you will have to enable data lake storage, hierarchical namespace, so that some options from blob are enabled, and so does the Azure files. Now here you will find the access tier, which you can take a look at, showing hot and cold options. So hot is something you access regularly, day-to-day usage. Cold is infrequent access and backups. There is also archive, but for now we have hot and cold option available. Next comes networking, where we choose public endpoint and all public access to network. There is also private access, and there is also disable public and private and allowing Azure only traffic. For routing, you will notice there is Microsoft managed routing and internal routing, right? Those options. Then comes data protection, where you have recovery, tracking, and access control options. So you will notice there is this option to enable soft deletion of blobs, containers, file shares, right? And there is also retention period for that. You can change that to 30 days, 20 days, or 2 weeks, etc. For tracking, you have to enable versioning and feed changes as well. So if your blob changes, those version changes should be tracked. So enable this if you require. Finally comes access control for immutability support. So you can set the retention policy for that. Now let's move to encryption. By default, you have Microsoft managed. You can set for customer manage, and you can also allow all service types to be managed through that, right? Entire infrastructure can be encrypted as well. And then comes tags. So for tags, when you are organizing your resources, then storage accounts can be organized as well and managed there, right? So we change that part as well. Finally comes the review, where you can validate things and create your storage. So we click on create storage and choose the storage account, and here you see for storage account you have options, right? And within data storage you will find the option for queues and tables. There is also container and file shares, but question here today is for tables. Click on tables. Now you'll notice that this interface similar can be accessed from storage browser as well. Click on storage browser, then you have tables and same interface can be accessed there. So we move to tables. Now here I will click on table. Let's name this my table. Click OK, and that creates a table. Notice that it also creates a URL. Okay, going there won't be showing you anything, just throwing some error there. Okay, so ignore that. Next is your access policy, access control and deletion. We will look at this later. Now let's try and expand this, and notice that from data storage option you can't do so. So we'll go to storage browser, and here go to table, then click on table. Here let's create an entity. Drawer opens up where you can choose partition key. So let's say an identifier value. So we will add, let's say, something like some value within string. So we will use p key. Then there is row key, right, where we can use string, right? So for row key we will use r key. Then comes property where we can choose, let's say if I want to add simple things like last name string, enter some value here like my surname. So here I will use first name string my name, and like this I can go on and add some values for my entity, right? So if I say company string and the name of the company, like this I can insert the entity into table. Notice we have our partition key, row key, timestamp, and then 3 columns specific to the entity that we just added, right? We can also edit the columns to be shown. Here you can see you have columns to move up and down, right? So let's say if I move this up, right, then right now let's save this order, and notice our columns are visible as per the update, right? Like this I can double click on that entry to edit the entity. I can keep on adding this property. So in a way it feels like JSON data or JSON entries being turned into a tabular entity, right? And that is visible for us. Now this is accessible through our storage browser, and then we choose tables. So let's see if we choose our table option, what else is visible for us. So data storage, here we have option to access this, but it's not letting us check by double clicking that, right? And we can't use the URL as well, but we can edit its policies. So click on access policy, and let's say I create a policy with identifier y, or you say r, expiry time up to next day, then permissions to read. Click OK. Now let's save this, and it is saved. All of that you can access from here. Now immediately you will find that option to check the access control here, right? So here view my access to that particular, so I will click view table. If we go back again here, we can also do the deletion, right? So currently I have access key as authentication to access this, but you can also use Azure Active Directory and get to access this. So let's say if I want to further modify and remove this table, I can go to storage browser and you can read about the table, number of tables, number of queues, etc. So we go to tables. I have one table here. I can click on it. I want to delete its keys and entity, so I will select that and delete. Next comes my table, right? I want to select that and delete as well, and now my table is also deleted, right? Now we learned how to create a storage account. We also learned how to create a table, how to add some entities into this, and how to access it, and finally delete it.